Viewers, this is of course the height of political season, and the India Alliance's link up with Hindu phobia has been exposed in spectacular and arguably embarrassing fashion today. The Madras High Court has taken strong exception to the Tamil Nadu police for not acting against the state chief minister's son. And we all know, viewers, that Udhayanidhi Stalin is a member of the Legislative Assembly and he is the prospective chief minister of the state. The Madras High Court has prima facie found legislator Udhayanidhi Stalin guilty of hate speech. The judge hearing the case said that Udhayanidhi is a person in power, not my words, the judge's words, and thus should be aware of the adverse impact of, quote, speech unflaring vociferous tendencies, unquote. Viewers, the judge was quite scathing. And if I walk you through some of the observations, you will feel that Stalin owes an apology and the police need to act. The first point that the court made, that the judge made, was that the police is guilty of dereliction of duty because the cops failed to act against the inflammatory speech that was made by Udhayanidhi Stalin. Of course, I will come to that in just a few moments. Those in power must behave responsibly, must realize the danger. Yes, listen carefully. Must realize the danger of vociferous tendencies. What does vociferous means? Divisive tendency. Restrain from propagating views that divide. So viewers, Udhayanidhi Stalin stands accused of playing divisive politics. A few weeks ago, the DMK scion submitted a plea before the Madras High Court. The Chief Minister's son was hoping to refute the charge that he had hurt Hindu sentiments by proclaiming that Sanatan Dharma needed to be eradicated like dengue, malaria, corona. He compared them to viruses that needed to be eradicated. Imagine, viewers, any mainstream Indian politician coming out and saying that about any other faith apart from the Hindu faith in this country. Imagine what would have happened to that particular politician. Especially if he had been talking about Islam, for instance, viewers. There would have been endless protests. He would have been accused of playing the worst form of hate politics. There would have been relentless campaigns to jail that individual. But viewers, Udhayanidhi Stalin gets away by comparing the Hindu faith, the Hindu tradition, the Hindu Dharma to the most dreadful of diseases and calls for the eradication of all the faiths, viewers, the entire faith. Udhayanidhi argued that he was one of the torch bearers of Dravidian movement and was keen therefore to eradicate, and I quote him, discriminatory religious practices, unquote, that threatened the former. Threatened whom? Viewers, threatened the Dravidian movement. Yes, viewers, he called himself one of the torch bearers of the Dravidian movement. And he said that he's expected to propagate Dravidian principles of self-respect. And he said he only talked about discriminatory religious practices and that there was no intention on his part to belittle or disrespect any religion. And he says, rather conveniently, Article 25 guarantees freedom of conscience. Article gives freedom not to believe in God and profess atheism. Because a person holds a different view, can't be disqualified. Fancy, viewers, applying that principle to Nupur Sharma and what she said, for instance. Viewers, the High Court's ruling allowed the BJP a handle to take on the N.D.I.A. Bloc and its alleged Hindu-phobic allies. Quite clearly, the court did not agree with Udhayanidhi Stalin. Udhayanidhi Stalin has, of course, refused to apologize or back down. The Congress is also yet to take a stand, and one must notice the omission of the Congress here, viewers, because it is the leading party of the N.D.I.A. Bloc and the DMK is the fulcrum on which the N.D.I.A. Bloc stands, being the second highest number of members of parliament. It contributes to the N.D.I.A. Bloc, viewers. Listen in to how the word war has been playing out in public.
Madras High Court has made its remarks on Sanatana Dharma. So
Yeah, we will face it legally. Whatever it is, we will face it legally. I have not said anything wrong. I have spoken against caste discrimination. I have not spoken about any religion or caste. I have spoken about caste discrimination. So we'll face it legally.
Madras High Court has now slammed the Tamil Nadu government and Tamil Nadu police for inaction over the Sanatan Dharma eradication meeting that took place, not just with the knowledge of the Tamil Nadu government and the DMK, but perhaps with the active participation and patronage. And it was a clear-cut case of hate speech and genocidal call that was being made. It was a clear-cut case asking for the extermination of Hindu Dharma, Sanatan Dharma.
Now viewers, this is not the first time that individual leaders of parties in the N.D.I.A. Bloc have made off-color jibes against Hindus, their religious figures and Hinduism. Let me walk you through this infamous list of those who have trolled the Hindu faith. Of course, there is Udhayanidhi Stalin himself. Sanatan Dharma is like malaria and dengue, and he says that he didn't intend to hurt anyone's sentiments. Well, his colleague in the party, A. Raja, who's also a DMK MP, he says Sanatana, which is a reference to Sanatan Dharma, is as disgusting as HIV. Viewers, another one goes out to say India is the reason for this global disease. This is what A. Raja says. Now imagine, viewers, this being said about any other faith. Just substitute the words for another faith and imagine what hell would have broken loose through this country. But no one, especially those that march from, in their words, Kanyakumari to Kashmir to project Muhabbat ki Rajniti, they have not even opened their mouths, viewers. And they claim to be Shiv Bhaks and they claim to be Janyudhari and this, that, the other. But when their own alliance partner compares a faith to HIV, saying that India is the reason for this global disease, viewers, disease. Not a squeak out of this so-called secular bloc. Now, think about that. I'm not finished, viewers. G. Parmeshwara, Karnataka Home Minister, said Hindu Dharma's origins are questionable. Now, viewers, the origins are questionable. So, if the origins are questionable, then it presumably doesn't exist for the Congress party. Siddaramaiah, Karnataka Chief Minister, some temples practice discrimination, he goes on to say, viewers, very openly without actually even giving us an example. Priyank Kharge, also a Congress Karnataka minister, says Sanatan Dharma spreads division, a whole faith. Now remember, viewers, if they were talking about Hindutva, one can still say, okay, you are talking about a political project. But no, viewers, they are talking about someone's faith, our faith, your faith. A majority of Hindus, people who live in this country, Indians' faith. Sanatan Dharma spreads division. Karti Chidambaram, Congress MP, says Sanatana code for caste curse. Viewers, all of these things have been said, but there's one mischievous narrative spun by the DMK that needs to be addressed by hard facts. While the party is trying desperately to present Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma as a threat to Tamil culture, the facts as I present them will not bear this out. The Tamil culture, Sanatana link, it's almost impossible to dehyphenate them. The great texts, Tolkapiyam, Tirukurul and Silapathikar testify to a link between Sanatan Dharma and Bharat, our country as a whole. The greatest acharyas of Sanatan Dharma, Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, were born in Dravidian lands. Sankara expounded the Advaita that transcended all differences between humans. Sankara's Manisha Panchakam says that Brahmins and outcasts are equals. Yes, viewers, you just heard what Karti Chidambaram said. Sanatana curse for caste, code for caste curse, he had said. Well, viewers, what is he going to say about the fact that the Manisha Panchakam says that Brahmins and outcasts are equal? Now, viewers, I'm not denying that certain aberrations creep into faiths, philosophies, etc. All over the world they do, but it depends on how the practitioners of the faith overcome these, address them. In fact, viewers, you'll be surprised to know, but the DMK government class 12 textbook says Varnashrama Dharma doesn't believe in hierarchies. So if it doesn't believe in hierarchies, where is Udhayanidhi's talk about discrimination, or where does the Karti Chidambaram Congress MPs talk about Sanatana code for caste, curse, etc. come from when you have, as a government, set it down in your own textbooks that Sanatan Dharma doesn't believe in hierarchies? Let's open this up, viewers. We need to ask some fundamental questions here of our guests, and we are going to go straight across first to our panel. But before that, just a quick reminder of the big question that we are posing. It's on your screens. Has the Indie Bloc's secular mask slipped entirely? That's the fundamental question we are putting tonight. And let's go straight across to our guests. And we have with us, viewers, some important voices, some interesting voices from Tamil Nadu as well as other parts of the country. S. Vijayadharani is also there with us. I'm going to try and go across to her. But let me first bring in Anand Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, you've of course written, and we have Uma also with us, Miss Uma, and we are going to bring her into the conversation. Nice seeing you back, Miss Uma. Lovely having you on the show. I'm going to go first to Dr. Ranganathan and get a sense of what to make of this High Court's intervention, very timely intervention. Dr. Ranganathan, you've constantly in the past also sort of picked out the courts and said that they haven't really spoken up, but here they are, and they are putting very firmly not just Udhayanidhi Stalin, but perhaps the Indie Bloc in the dock.
Good evening, Rahul. I'm afraid I humbly disagree with the stance that you're purporting and the what the Madras High Court did, because in my view, I'm afraid the Madras High Court order on Sanatan Dharma is emblematic of the hypocrisy, virtue signaling, cowardly stance and double standards of each of our four pillars of democracy, including and specifically the judiciary. Let me explain. There are four issues here. Number one, on hypocrisy. Rahul, if you ask me the textbook definition of a banana republic, I would say that it is a republic where the Supreme Court stays silent on blatant violation of its own order. It has been more than 2 months since Udhayanidhi Stalin wanted to eradicate Sanatan Dharma. More than 2 months since the Tamil Nadu government has been in direct contempt of the Supreme Court order of the April that said states should immediately file cases in instances of hate speech, and yet nothing has been done either by the state or the Supreme Court or the Madras High Court. I can only infer that eradication of Hinduism, comparing it to dreadful incurable diseases, calling it a menace upon the world, is not construed as hate speech by the Supreme Court, in which case it begs the question, why did it so ruthlessly come down on Nupun Sharma for merely quoting holy texts and infer it to be hate speech? But today, the same judiciary has refused permission for the holding of a conference titled Eradicating Dravidian Ideology. So you can hold a conference for eradicating Sanatan Dharma and the state will not act against you, and the most High Court will do is to castigate the police, but not the Supreme Court or its own judiciary for 2 months for not taking action. But if you want to hold a conference to eradicate Dravidian ideology, the state will not give you permission. If this is not hypocrisy, I don't know what is. Number two, virtue signaling. The court says one should not hold a conference to quote, eradicate any ideology. I'm sorry, but I have a serious problem with this. Why can I not hold a conference where I profess my views and desire to eradicate, for example, Nazism or Maoism or any ideology that calls for the direct murder of millions who do not profess that ideology? It defies logic. Number three, cowardly stance. There already is an ideology that specifically and unambiguously directs its followers to kill, maim and convert non-believers and all those who profess other ideology. So by the court's own logic, this ideology should be banned. But does the court have the courage to ban this ideology? Number four, double standards. The court says that free speech is not hate speech. Well, who decides what is hate speech? Polytheists are the worst of creatures, 98.6. Is this hate speech according to the court? Do not take disbelievers as friends unless they convert and kill them if they refuse 489. Is this hate speech? Quote, it is not enough that we merely oppose Judaism. We should eradicate Judaism like we eradicate malaria and corona, unquote. Now I ask all those supporting Stalin as well as the Supreme Court, is this statement not anti-Semitic? In fact, Rahul, you will be arrested in 16 nations for saying this. But replace Judaism with Sanatan Dharma and you not only escape arrest, you celebrate the bigotry unabashedly. Stalin uttered a shockingly anti-Hindu, anti-Sanatan Dharma, and the problem is the subsequent clarification was also utterly devoid of truth. If a BJP minister had said what Stalin has about another religion, there'll be a civil war by now. But Hindus are easy to abuse. They don't behead transgressors.
Let me add footnote number 12, Dr. Ranganathan, to your exposition. Very good exposition, but the fact of the matter is, viewers, that, you know, a spokesperson for a terror organization in a neighboring state was given a platform for saying exactly what Dr. Ranganathan was saying. In fact, that person, his organization, is militantly opposed to Judaism and wants to eradicate it, quote unquote. You can look at the Hamas charter, but that person got a platform, and of course the Supreme Court is not coming down on the group that gave him that platform, which is a leading Islamic political group in this country, viewers, with a great legacy, which goes all the way back to partition. Can you imagine, viewers? So there you have it. But let me bring in S. Vijay Dharani. She's a very eloquent speaker. Ms. Dharani, today a small beginning, though Dr. Ranganathan will disagree vehemently with me, a small beginning at even virtue signaling has begun. And the court has come out and said that Mr. Stalin's son, Mr. Udhayanidhi, should be booked by the police. In effect, rubber stamping the fact that this gentleman has committed hate speech, and the Congress today, Ms. Vijay Dharani, supports the DMK.
Yes.
Will you now snap ties? I mean, you waited perhaps for the court to take a stance because you believed him at face value. Now the courts have taken a stance. Is it time for you to part ways with the DMK, especially after it has insulted the Hindu faith?
See, actually, what was meant by Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin is in a different manner. That's what one should understand. I think the details of all these can definitely be explained to the High Court. Primarily, he has meant only that there is discrimination insofar as caste-related issues are concerned in this system. But however, the Varnasara Dharma may propagate such things, no doubt. But however, the hierarchy is not a matter insofar as Sanatana Dharma is concerned. But definitely there is a divisive discrimination that happens within the religious contours of these dharmas. That is what he is meant to say. So this explanation, ultimately, the courts will agree. That's what, as a lawyer
No,
of the
don't go with
Supreme Court
ultimately.
and the High Court,
You're a very intelligent and articulate spokesperson.
Definitely will be agree.
But
Yeah.
Ms. Vijay
So
Dharani,
I
let's
think
go by what the court has said
he
right
meant
now.
is only the discrimination.
No,
The
it's
other
fine.
part of Sanatana Dharma, practicing Sanatana Dharma, or practicing maybe Varnasana Dharma, the word.
No, ma'am, put your hand on your heart. Put your hand on your heart and you tell me, do you think that,
but
okay, let me take you
Sanatana
through.
Dharma, practicing Sanatana Dharma may not be
Okay.
wrong.
So let me take you
Maybe,
through these
on the face
utterances.
of it. But
Okay. No, I'm glad you've
Rahul-
drawn that distinction. But madam, can I ask you a question then, Ms. Vijay Dharani? Look, it's
Yeah,
an important
yeah.
issue. It's a very sensitive issue. And a lot of Hindus are tuned in. And I'm sure even people like Tehseen Poonawala will not agree with you tonight. I'm sure. Because he's an intelligent, rational human being. And he is full of muhabbat and love for everyone. And he has been very categoric in the past also. And I take him at face value. But I want to ask you a couple of things. You know, you are saying that Sanatan Dharma should not be chastised. So I'm asking you, madam, Sanatan Dharma is like malaria and dengue and corona, it should be eradicated, quote unquote.
No.
Do you believe this should be said?
My view, yeah, Rahul, my view, I wanted to make it very clear. Sanatana Dharma is part of Hindu religion, no doubt about it. But a portion of it, which is claimed to be Varnasara Dharma, that's my understanding, has some discrimination insofar as caste orientation is concerned.
Okay.
That's what is hurting people, they wanted to say.
Okay.
But
So let me ask you.
I strongly feel practicing Sanatana Dharma is, on the face of it, is nothing wrong. It does denotes.
Okay. Another
Hinduism.
partner of the
But
Congress in the India
the
alliance.
caste part of it, discrimination caste part of
Okay,
it. on the
discrimination
face of
part is
like
bad.
the,
Fair enough. Let me ask you.
Dharma does matter. This explanation,
Okay.
if Udhayanidhi Stalin is able to give in the court
Clearly
of law,
it does not succeed.
definitely the court is going to accept.
Well, let me tell you,
where
ma'am.
does criminalization will come insofar as these things are concerned?
Okay, but Miss Vijay
There is
Dharini,
nothing
the
like that.
court
This
has
is
said.
only purely politics that's being played.
Okay, madam, 1 minute,
Just
please.
because the 2024 elections are around, all
No,
these things are being played.
No, 1 second. That's an
Nobody is
unfair
going to
remark
talk
to make
about
on the
it
court.
after
The court is not
2024
playing
elections.
politics. They are not part of the N.D.A. Please, that's not a fair assumption.
Court has not opined anything. Rahul, I wanted to make it very clear. Court has not given any opinion. Court
Ma'am, it
only
has.
said
It has
what the
observed.
court-
It has
That's
made
it.
so many. It
To
has made
find
so
the
many
inquiry,
observations.
take the inquiry report from Udhayanidhi Stalin and file it in the court. That's
No,
what
madam,
the
then
court
why
says.
is the court
The
asking
has
the
not
police?
said anything.
Okay. If he is
Anything,
not
court has
guilty.
not opined anything.
Okay, Miss Vijay Dharini.
Court
if
has
the
not opined anything.
Okay, one
I
second.
hope you
One second.
accept.
It has
Court
said.
has not opined
Okay,
anything.
let me just read through. Okay, you may not believe me. Let me read through what the court has said. Dereliction of duty on part of the police. Cops failed to act against inflammatory speech. The court is saying act against this man for giving an inflammatory speech. Ma'am, let me finish.
The cops to inquire Mr.
No,
Udhayanidhi
not
Stalin and
inquire.
file a court.
There has been inaction.
They didn't make an inquiry on
Must okay.
case filed.
Then the
That's
court
what
says
court means.
that
There is
those
no
in
opinion
power.
about Sanatana Dharma.
Okay.
Where did the court say anything about Sanatana Dharma? Where did the courts speak of anything about Udhayanidhi Stalin's speech?
Ma'am,
They
it
didn't
has.
speak anything about it.
I have the entire
They
court
spoke
in
about
front
the
of me.
case.
I have the entire court in front of me. I'm reading it to you,
Yes,
but you're
the
not
court
listening.
order. I also
So why is the
through
police?
court
Why is the
order.
police being asked to act against Udhayanidhi
No,
Stalin?
the court has said you inquire him.
No.
What does he
No.
say?
I'm
on
sorry,
the
madam.
complaint?
Now
And
you're
file
okay.
the report.
I don't
In
want
my
to get
view,
into
it is
a.
like that.
Okay.
In my
Okay.
view, I take it like that.
Okay. In
You
your
don't
view, you
take
can
it
take it like that.
around.
Fine. Okay. It's your
Why
view.
don't you take it inside?
Okay.
What I say.
Okay, ma'am.
The court
Fine.
might have meant like what I said.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll leave it at this. 1 minute. Uma Anandan, you want to respond to the BJP? Tehseen Poonawala is there also with us. And of course, Dr. Raman also. Uma Anandan, could you respond? Vijay Dharini says, look, you've got it all wrong. The court is not asking to take any action against Udhayanidhi Stalin.
Neither
Does it
discussed
deserve
about
any
Sanatana
comment?
Dharma.
Does it deserve any comment after you read out the statement, after you read out step by step? Second, I would like to ask, why is it that the court was waiting? They should have taken some motor action on this. There are umpteen instances earlier. Rajiv Gandhi, the spokesperson of DMK, who said he would like to annihilate the Hindus. You had R.S. Bharati. You had the MP A. Raja speaking so badly. You had about umpteen channels speaking about Hinduism, Lord Shiva in such unparliamentary terms. In Chidambaram, we had about 50,000 people on the streets. The court did not take any action even after receiving complaints from about 5,000 of us. Second, the Chennai temple incident. What the court should have taken action even at that time. Why are they waiting for a person to hold a conference to annihilate the Dravidian ideology? Only then the court woke up to take action. We don't have the right. Anybody, every Tom, Dick and Harry can talk about annihilating Sanatana Dharma, and everybody speaks about the caste discrimination. Shall we have a panel discussion on the caste discrimination in Christianity and Islam? Can we have a discussion on that? Are these people game to join in that discussion, or if they are going to come and blabber or tap through their head? like what they are doing now. It will not serve any purpose. So let them come to the point. It is very easy to point out the Hindus are soft targets, and especially in Tamil Nadu, because E.V. Ramasamy Nayaka showed them the way. And what is Dravidian ideology? Something that is to be thrown into the Kuvam river, and they would like to stick to that. Why? The court also should have taken off all the offences and disparaging remarks made by all these people who were holding the post of MP, a minister, spokesperson of the ruling party, and even the chief minister himself. So anybody who is in power, and whether they are in power or not, they can talk anything and get away about Hinduism. That is a sorry state of affairs in Tamil Nadu. This has been the sorry state of affairs for the last 50 years.
Okay.
They want us to keep quiet even now because they are used to Hindus taking things lying down.
Okay.
Now they are not able to tolerate us going to court. And one question to the courts: why no suo motu action? I would like to ask this. Why were they waiting for a gentleman to file a case on this?
Okay.
Umpteen instances I have quoted now, and I have filed complaints to the police. What has happened to them? So many complaints have been raised on so many issues against so many people. What has the court done? What has the police done? Nothing. They are all sitting on it, hatching eggs.
Can I respond?
Yes, you can respond.
Can
One
I
second,
respond?
very quickly. But I want to ask you.
I would like to point out. Yeah.
One second, madam.
I would
One
like
second.
to point out very clearly.
Just 1 second, 1 second. I think Tehseen also wants to come in. Sumansi Raman. I'll come back to everybody. Just give me 30 seconds. They haven't spoken. It's only fair that they get to speak. I'll bring you in. I'll bring you in. Let them all have their opening remarks.
Okay.
Tehseen Poonawalla, look, you can cut it this way or you can cut it that way. Today the court, the Madras High Court, has at least prima facie upbraided the police force for not acting strongly enough against Udhayanidhi Stalin. Any copy you open of any newspaper, anything, and you will read that Udhayanidhi Stalin is being pulled up for the inflammatory speech that he made to eradicate Sanatan Dharma. These are not my words, these are courts. This court is of the view that a person in power should realize the danger of his speech and behave responsibly and restrain themselves from propagating views that will divide people in the name of ideology, caste and religion. Instead, they may concentrate on eradicating intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health, corruption, untouchability and other social evils. And the petitioner had claimed that it is his fundamental right to conduct any of these inquiries. So I'm asking you, sir, should today the Congress party take a definitive position, and if it fails to do so, is it liable to be accused of being Hindu-phobic? Mr. Poonawalla.
Thank you for having me on the show, Rahul. And there is a very famous meme that goes around. Modi ji कहते हैं hypocrisy की भी कोई सीमा होती है. तो आपके show में, in this show of yours, the only thing that we've seen without any seema or boundary is hypocrisy of every single political parties and the judiciary. Now, the judgment that my good friend Dr. Anand Ranganathan quoted, the hate speech judgment, is on my name, Tehseen Poonawalla's name. I, Tehseen Poonawalla, went to court. And I said this in the past and I've said this today. These are nothing but hate speeches. So I'm going to divide this into two parts. One is the moral part and one is the political part. The moral part first. Can I, Tehseen, say on your show about Islam, about Christianity, about any other country, any other religion? I cannot. I can definitely ask for reforms. I must ask for reforms. I'm an atheist. Like Mr. Stalin, I am an atheist. I'm not an agnostic, I'm an atheist. I can ask for reforms. But can I call people dengue, malaria, HIV? That is dehumanizing. I would stand up for calling anybody, including the most vulnerable citizens, if they call anybody else, including the BJP, I would stand up against them. So why is this being called? The second part about this hypocrisy, Mr. Stalin, under what circumstances is he an oppressed? He is there as sports minister because his father is chief minister and his grandfather is Mr. Karunanidhi. He is oppressed. I can understand not the language, but somebody speaking against oppression who comes from a genuine background that has been oppressed. Mr. Stalin is the ideal privileged kid born with a proverbial diamond spoon, not a silver spoon. He is oppressed. That does not take him from talking about reforms, but you cannot talk about calling people Dengian and eradicating them. Then come to the BJP, the hypocrisy of the BJP. Iski bhi koi seema nahi, there's no limits to that. The Honorable Prime Minister not just invites Mr. Stalin for his G20 dinner, or you may say that's protocol, is laughing, cracking jokes, taking selfies with Mr. Stalin. If you were so upset with Mr. Stalin, you could have called him for dinner because that's protocol. You don't have to hang out with him. But the Prime Minister is hanging out with him. Why? Why do you have to hang out? Because all of this plays to the BJP's core constituency. Now let's come to the judiciary, which is in my case. This should have been a suo moto action, not just in this case, but many other cases. But the judiciary, as usual, did not act. You have to punish the powerful and all political parties, including the BJP. And I want your viewers to know I'm anti-BJP, who say desh ke gaddaro ko goli maro. The judiciary does nothing, and therefore hate speech goes unabated. And now for the last part, political point before I end. There's a lot of respect. There's a Congress MLA here. Why is the Congress defending DMK? What has the Congress got to do? Yeah, in the India Alliance, okay, great. You have a Hindi heartland election going on. It is my interest to make Kamal Nath Chief Minister. You are defending this. I mean, even politically, this doesn't make sense. Rahul Ji, who I respect a lot, I vote for Congress. I'm putting this out. Rahul Ji says he's a Janyudari Brahmin. Is this language accepted? So why are you getting into this mess created by the DMK, supported by Congress leaders? I mean, can we stop this and talk about future?
Okay.
It's so easy to defeat the BJP. We need to talk about what they haven't done for 9.5 years.
I'll bring in the two doctors now.
5 seconds.
Yes. Dr. Ranganathan, you wanted to come in 5 seconds, and I'll bring in Dr. Raman right after, because Tehseen Punala is asking the Congress a question that Sumansi Raman, I would like you to answer. Yes, very quickly. Yes.
Very quickly, Tehseen, is the polytheists are the worst of creatures hate speech? Yes or no?
But there are many such texts in many texts. I know which text you're talking
Is
about.
it hate speech?
But we're talking about
Is it?
hate speech. We're talking about hate speech. We're not talking
Is it
about
hate speech or not?
We're talking about religious
hate
texts. Then we
speech?
can quote various religious texts. I don't want to go down that line. We shouldn't go down.
You don't want to go down that line. You see
I
the
don't want to go
hypocrisy
down
here.
that. How is hypocrisy?
You don't want to go
I
down
can
because you want to
I
give a
think
free pass to
hypocrisy is
people
yours. You will
who
not
read
quote
that
other
day in
hate
and
speech.
please don't interrupt.
Okay,
Please
one
don't
second.
interrupt,
Okay,
Tehseen.
okay,
Please.
no, please don't
It is
interrupt.
unusual
Okay,
of you to do
hypocrisy.
so. It is
Okay, but then
unusual
allow
of
me
you
to
to
rebut.
interrupt me. Please.
Allow me to rebut.
You can
Allow
reply
me to
later on.
rebut.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. What you have done is not only endorsed the doublespeak and hypocrisy of the judiciary, you've yourself indulged in it. I asked you a very simple question. Is calling for the beheading and killing of non-believers, asking them to convert, and if they don't, killing them, polytheists saying police are the worst of creatures, saying Jews are pigs and apes, is that hate speech or not? If it was not in religious scriptures and you heard it from the first time somebody saying it in loudspeaker, you have said, arrest that man. But you're not saying that now. That is your hypocrisy. Accept the hypocrisy.
No, that's not.
Why don't you accept the hypocrisy?
Okay, response.
Okay. As long as something's in a religious text, for example, another religious text that said that women should be debarred, they are not powerful, all of that, I'm not getting to religious text. If somebody makes a speech as the one Dr.
Why
Ranganathan,
not?
no. Now, Anand, hold on. Anand, hold on. Give me the same courtesy. If somebody were to make a speech, I would say that is hate speech. So, for example, someone was to make a speech quoting from another religious text that a woman who is adulterous should be beaten up. I think that's hate speech that should be prosecuted. If you're quoting a religious text, I think we should not get into it. I hope I've answered the question. But a speech, yes, not a religious text. I hope you understand the difference between the two.
I'm sorry.
For example, a religious talks about gay men.
You are
What
my
if
brother,
gay men
but
should
you
be
are
beaten
as
up?
cowardly as the judiciary. You are my
No,
brother.
ask
You will remain
Rahul
my
if he wants to
brother.
get into religious book.
You're
Okay.
as cowardly.
Ask
Brothers.
Rahul if he wants to get into it. If Rahul says,
Okay.
I will get
No,
into
hang
it.
on.
I have no
I just want to
problem.
come
I
in
have no
here.
problem
One
discussing
second.
it.
Viewers,
You will remain
let me
my
tell you
brother.
what is happening here. I'll tell you what is happening. I think Dr. Ranganathan is picking at the seams, and he has been able to scratch very deep under the surface, and he has brought out certain inconsistencies in a lot of arguments that have been made here. And he is quoting out of certain texts, and he is holding those texts up to the Supreme Court. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Ranganathan, and asking the Supreme Court then to say, where is your militant abhorrence of hate speech? Take action. Now, viewers, I want to bring in Dr. Sumansi Raman, because the question I want to bring back, and it's a political question. We've gone down other routes, but I want to come back to the political question. Dr. Raman, it's not just DMK, is it? You have mainstream Congress Karnataka ministers who are saying nasty things about the Hindu faith. They're not talking about Hindutva. They're talking about the Hindu faith. Those quotes are on the screen. You can see what has been said. And, you know, Sanatan Dharma spreads division. No one says that about any other faith, does it? They all say that all faiths are born to preach equality, fraternity and love and all of this. But no. And then you have somebody else from the Congress, the Home Minister of Karnataka, saying Hindu Dharma's origins are questionable. Say that to about any other faith, there might be a bloodbath. Now, Dr. Aman, can the Congress party today preach to be the inclusive party it is? Can the I.N.D.I.A alliance, the I stands for inclusivity, preach inclusivity when it goes out of its way to target one majority faith in this country? How is that inclusive? Can you answer this question?
Rahul,
Yes, sir.
The moment this controversy broke out, you will recall that both Kamal Nath and T.S. Singhio in Chhattisgarh came out very clearly and disassociated themselves and their party, at least at the state level, from these statements. Now, the reason why the congressmen in Tamil Nadu sing a different tune is very simple. They don't have even a 1% chance of winning elections without the support of the DMK. So therefore, you see Udhayanidhi Stalin goes around, making these statements, and Karthi Chidambaram puts out a tweet supporting his statement on Sanatana Dharma. I mean, what kind of... So it is very clear, and Tehseen knows this very well. We've discussed this earlier also, that the Congress is a 5% party in Tamil Nadu. Without the DMK, they will not win a single seat. They will not win one seat. And therefore, whatever the DMK says, the Congress will follow. My surprise was, madam, you know the facts very well. That, I mean, you can't say it on air. I know Vijay Dhanni, madam, but he cannot accept it on air for obvious reasons. What surprises me is the statement being made by by Parmeshwara and others. But but one quick point. If I was Udhayanidhi Stalin, one second, Rahul, if I was Udhayanidhi Stalin, I'll be very satisfied with the judgment today, with the order today, simply because the order does not direct the police now to take action. It says why did the police not take action? The police, it has not said the police will do this within will produce him in court within a particular time. They have not given any particular order. And apart from the general gyan which has been made, I don't think there is anything which, if I was Udhayanidhi, I'll be extremely satisfied with this judgment.
But you see, that's where you have misunderstood the thrust. Very good point. And I want to very quickly draw our viewers' attention. 1 second, Dr. Raman, very important point.
After this, he held a press conference where he said he stands by what he says.
Yes, he has. He just did so. Very good point. And I must today congratulate Dr. Raman for calling out the Congress party in unambiguous terms on this. Basically what he's saying, and I'm going to take the liberty of 1 second of paraphrasing him, in a sense, what he's saying is that for votes, viewers, the Congress is selling out a whole faith, the Hindu faith, sold it out for votes because it won't get more than 5% on its own.
No, that is
The
wrong.
Congress has even snipped its Janayu. It has even snipped its
Rahul,
Janayu for votes. Now, hang on 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll come to you, madam. You have all the right to respond.
The last time Congress stood alone.
Yeah, I am coming to you. I'm coming to you, Ms. Vijay Dharini. That's why I'm asking you. You see, 1 second, gentlemen. Let Ms. Vijay Dharini speak. She's an important voice, and it's very important that she speaks. And I want people to note, viewers, that I'm giving her enough time. I'll tell you why, viewers, I didn't deliberately look at this as a Stalin debate. What are the questions I'm asking? Has the I.N.D.I.A alliance's secular mask slipped? By the very fact that the High Court today, the Madras High Court has pulled up. I'm not saying that they are going to jail him, they're going to put him in, chakki pani, peace knowing or whatever nonsense. None of that is going to happen. The point is that by calling out this speech as a divisive rant, has the I.N.D.I.A alliance's secular mask slipped off its face? Ms. Vijay Dharini, at least you cannot disagree with me on the question I'm asking on this debate. That is obvious, isn't it? What is Mr. Parameswara got to do? It's a fair question.
See, very important. Whoever has spoken on this, and you've been showing a lot of clips of lot of leaders who have spoken many things on the Sanatan Dharma. I am also a leader of the Congress party, a woman leader of the Congress party in Tamil Nadu. I make it very clear, Sanatana Dharma may be a practice of a Dharma in the Hindu religion, no doubt about it. I do agree the very good things that are in Sanatana Dharma. I do agree. But definitely there is a caste discrimination insofar as which is named as Varnasara Dharma, which
Ma'am,
is very clear.
Ma'am,
that
there is
the
also
debate
discrimination
should be
against
on
women
Varnasara
in
Dharma,
another
not
faith.
on Sanatana Dharma.
Will you say that that
And
faith
the
should be
hierarchy and
eradicated?
other
No,
things
1
are
minute.
still a question in Varnasara
Miss Vijay Dharani, that's an
I
important
hope
distinction.
this explanation, if the court agrees, this case will
Okay.
come to an end.
Okay, now listen to me. Miss
And
Vijay
very
Dharani.
important, this particular court which has asked for some explanation
Yeah.
is only telling the police, not even giving a direction to the police. They are
Okay.
telling the police, why didn't you do your inquiry on the
Okay.
complaint?
So, Miss Vijay Dharani, let
If
me ask you.
that had been
Can
done,
I ask you?
court would have been in a clear terms how
Can I ask
to
you?
come to a conclusion on this issue.
Ma'am, can I
today
ask you?
itself
Can
and
I ask you a
close the
question?
case.
Can I ask you a question? You said that Sanatan Dharma has a discriminatory element in it. Now, there is another faith, Miss Vijay Dharani, that also has a discriminatory element in it. Has she been dragged off the screen or something? What's happened? Vijay
Turned
Dharani?
upside down.
Miss Vijay Dharani, are you there? Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, you wanted to make a quick point? Yeah.
No, very quickly, I think just to complete what you were saying, so there are discriminations in every religion.
Yeah.
And the problem with Congress is that while it will cry and defend DMK, as rightly Dr. Sumatraman has put it, because Congress is nothing in Tamil Nadu, that's why it's taking that stand. It will be absolutely quiet when it comes to other religions. But I have to agree here, because Dr. Sumatraman has also agreed with what I said. My thesis was that I'm afraid the Madras High Court has slapped the wrists of the police and the state machinery with a peacock feather. It has not said that the Supreme Court was wrong because its own order was violated. It has not said that the police should right now go to Udhayanidhi Stalin's house and arrest him. It has not said that the Tamil Nadu government should be castigated for not acting on the Supreme Court order. So the High Court has actually given a blank check to anyone who can arrange a conference on eradicating Sanatan Dharma, say whatever he wants to say, and basically be in contempt of the Supreme Court's own order on hate speech.
Well, viewers, let me just for the record, so that no one pulls us up for misrepresenting facts, the Supreme Court did issue a notice to Udhayanidhi Stalin time ago, and that happened, I think it was in September if I'm not mistaken, and that was because the petitioners went to the court. So it was not suo motu, though they did end up acting on that particular petition and then sending a notice to Udhayanidhi Stalin. Very quickly.
Rahul, in April, yes. In April, the Supreme Court had said that
without
waiting.
You're absolutely
the state should file a.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. And the Supreme Court did not obviously then tell the government to go ahead and do it suo motu either. So, yes, you're absolutely right. I am not really somebody who will stand up for the milords, though they might find me contemptuous, but I'm not. I'm just stating the facts. Milords, Tehseen Poonawalla, yes, you want to make a quick point? I mean, the Congress party has been exposed here. Forget about Tamil Nadu, even Karnataka, you have ministers who are abusing. So, I like that point that Dr. Raman made, the second point, and I have noticed it. He said, I'm surprised by statements of Parameswara. He said, I don't know why they made them. Is it because the DNA is Hindu-phobic?
No, the DNA of BJP is India-phobic. They are the ones who are anti every
religion. How? Why is Parameswara jumping in? What has he got to do with 5%?
They shouldn't. Forget the morality, like I said. Even politically, it's suicide for the Congress.
No, why forget? Why forget?
No, I'm saying forget the morality, not forget it. The morality, even politically, it makes no sense for the Congress because it
if it's not making sense, it must come from within, no? It must be an instinct.
I don't think that all of these leaders realize the harm they cause.
No, because they believe it.
No, I don't think they believe it. I just think it comes that these statements happen. I don't know if they. I don't think they believe it. It's like a BJP leader. It's ma'am.
No action is being taken against them. So obviously the
Rahul,
DNA.
Can I please make a point? If you keep interrupting me, I can't make my point.
Okay.
I want to make a point.
Yes, Mr.
Thanks.
Yes.
There is a serious problem in our country, whether Congress or BJP. And I don't want this to be confused with religious texts that Dr. Ranganathan received. Politicians are continuously making hate speech. In Rajasthan, where elections are going on, the BJP MLA candidate says, let's break down Gurudwaras and mosques. He then apologizes. He says, look, sorry, not Gurudwaras, only mosques and madrasas. I made a mistake. In Gujarat.
Yeah, but what happened? The man has been punished by the party. I mean, here, Mr. Parmeshwara, is he still the Home Minister of Karnataka? Yes or no?
What punished?
Yes or no? No, I'm asking you, Mr. Punawala, has he even been given a rap? No, look, I need to move on. My director is telling me. My director is telling me.
They released the rapists because they were sanskari.
Okay, now you are changing. Now look, this is whataboutery. The fundamental question I'm asking, why are people constantly within the Congress party coming out and repudiating one faith only? One faith. Is it because of DNA? Or is it because they know better and therefore one should forgive them for their trespasses? I'll take a short break. I'll leave it to you to ponder that question. We come back, viewers, we talk about Delhi's toxic air, and guess what? The solution that the AAP has provided is to make our Diwalis a little more painful. Dr. Ranganathan will also be there. We'll bring him into this debate because he's got some very interesting views on it. I'll come right back. Don't go away.
Hello, Moto.
Because they haven't gotten the salary for a very long time, and that is the reason why they are not deployed on the ground, making sure that whatever measures that have been implemented through the grab policy, that is implemented on the ground as well. So yes, it remains to be seen if at all the Delhi government can find some way to make sure that whatever policies they are trying to bring in at this point in time to make sure that the air quality remains under control and people of Delhi are allowed to breathe in fresh air, that is implemented on the ground. But yes, hectic parleys are continuing between the Delhi government and the Delhi administration, but we are still waiting to see some concrete solution that is given out and that could be implemented on the ground, which could eventually mean that the people of Delhi who are running from pillar to post to just get a grasp of fresh air can actually breathe in fresh air and air that is safe for them, safe for the children and safe for their parents as well. Fourth straight day when the AQI in the national capital has remained in the severe category, which means the AQI has remained above 400 for 4 consecutive days, which means that the air that the people of Delhi are breathing is becoming toxic and worse day by day. Currently, I am reporting from the pollution hotspot of the national capital, that is the I.N.D.I.A bus terminal. From today itself, the Graded Response Action Plan Stage 4 has been implemented, which means due to which we can expect that the traffic in the national capital might be under control. But if I could show you in the visuals over here, these are the kind of visuals that we are bringing to you live from I.N.D.I.A terminal. If you could see the manner in which the vehicles are still plying on the road according to the grab that has been implemented, the stage 4 of the grab that has been implemented. No vehicles who are operating on diesel engines should be allowed to enter the national capital until and unless they are helping in essential commodities or they are operating on CNG or electronic engines. But yes, we can see that there is very little check and balances that have been made at this point in time, and vehicles are being allowed to move freely from outside the national capital to within the national capital. Many other steps have also been taken by the Delhi government. If I could just show you in the visuals, on the other side of the road, the sprinklers are being used by the Delhi government to make sure that the pollutants that are on the road, the dust particles that are on the road, they stay down and they do not get up in the air, which would eventually mean that the AQI will get even worse. But yes, steps like these can only be seen like a drop in the ocean, because yes, the AQI in the national capital is continuously deteriorating. For the past 4 days, the people of Delhi are being forced to breathe in this toxic air, whereas very little to no work has been done to improve the AQI out here in the national capital. But yes, one thing has remained constant over the past 1 decade, that is politics around the pollution levels out here in the national capital. Be it the
Viewers, we are going to very quickly talk about the child of the mother of all Diwali dampness. Yes, viewers, it's odd, but the AAP government here in Delhi is getting even with you. It finds that your motor car is directly responsible for the toxic air that we see. And I'll show you pictures of that toxic air that we are breathing, viewers. You can barely see beyond your nose in this city. So it has brought back its greatest, most innovative scheme, the odd-even scheme. Yes, viewers, between November 13th and November 20th, you can't drive a car on certain days of the week if it is either odd or even. So there will be even number days and there will be odd number days. The idea is to cut down the number of vehicles on the road. Now this is a relic of 1979, this scheme. It was first tried out in USA, not to curb pollution, viewers, but to ration gasoline, because at that time was the oil crisis and they didn't have enough oil. So the odd even scheme was birthed in the United States in 1979. Since then, hundreds of innovations have taken place. We've become AI enabled, viewers, but to solve the problem of Delhi pollution, you won't be able to drive your car in odd days, your even numbered car on odd days. Now viewers, I'll tell you, when they brought this scheme out first in 2016, on the days this scheme was applied, the pollution was more. In 2017, it barely made a difference. An IIT study says only 3% at the very most, it will have an impact of reducing pollution by 3%. And I want to open this up and bring in Dr. Ranganathan first. Dr. Ranganathan, what is 3% of 999? My maths is not very good, so I'm not even going to hazard a guess. But this child of the mother of all Diwali dampeners has been now inflicted upon us.
Rahul, this is honestly going from the ridiculous to the sublime, or is it the other way around? I don't really know. But you know, the AQI rather, that should be 30. That is acceptable. In Delhi, it has touched 999 and it's probably much higher. But the AQI meters can only show 3 digits. It's probably, more than 1,000. The only way, honestly, I'm convinced of this now, that stubble burning can be banned is if we declare it to be Parali Dahan, a Hindu festival celebrated at the onset of winter, wherein, according to the Atharva Veda, the demon king Paralisura enslaved Marut and Rudra, and the enraged Lord Vishnu burnt him. And because it is a Hindu festival, its celebration will be banned. No, but seriously, this is absolutely criminal. Nothing phases the shameless lot of our politicians, not even the Supreme Court. Remember in 2020, Supreme Court ordered Punjab and Haryana governments, and I quote, stop stubble burning immediately. Be warned. Your entire administration and police will be held responsible even if one instance of stubble burning occurs in future, unquote. And what happened the very next day? Punjab recorded 6,700 farm fires, Haryana 364. Rahul, a year ago, Punjab and Haryana recorded an excess of 75,000 farm fires, and this year is going to be the same. 3,100 fires have been reported yesterday, and we have just begun with this stubble burning season. Let me give you some perspective, just a minute. Number one, during the stubble burning month, an area of 17,900 square kilometers or 12 times the size of Delhi
is continuously on fire, right next to Delhi for a month.
I know. When we are really running out of time, I've got 1 minute, I think, on this show. Vimalendu Jha, it's contemptuous to think of a quick fix when our children are suffocating in the capital.
Absolutely. So this is very, very reactive rather than proactive on the part of the Delhi government to really think that odd even will actually solve the entire crisis. It's not going to solve anything. Reality is that when you actually only wake up during the Pradushan festival, this is what you end up getting, because they really are not into governance. It's a travesty of governance when it comes to air quality, and also because it's a regional problem. Indeed, it's a failure of our government, but we don't even know any other government also that's completely missing. So it's a collective failure of every arm of governance, be it the central government, be it the municipality, be it Delhi government, and for our Environment Minister of Delhi to come up with very, very convenient data of 200 good days and odd even and whatnot, and to have a high-level meeting by the Chief Minister on the eve or the 7th day, not even the eve, at 7th day of Savior Day, is just fakery and bad governance. And, we do not, 23, we are having this discussion, Rahul, we will have the same discussion 2024. Nothing will change, because for them, it's only about winning elections rather than actually thinking about public well-being or
quick fixes are contempt, viewers, for us. Contempt for us. Contempt for Dr. Ranganathan, contempt for Vimalendu Jha and their intelligence, their IQ or their AQI. I don't know what to call it anymore. It's all confused. It's all going up in smoke. I leave it at this. And of course, the big show with Anand Narasimhan, The Right Stand, coming up. Don't go away.
Gopal Rai. Or be it the central government, we have seen the constant blaming of each other for this deteriorating air quality in the national capital. But yes, there is very little to no result that has been seen that could have improved the AQI out here in the national capital. Now, what remains to be seen that today is day 4, or that Delhi continues to breathe in severe air quality. And it is expected that over the next few days, the AQI will remain in the severe category itself because of the weather and wind conditions. Will our governments finally get their acts together and put in a policy that would make sure that the AQI in the national capital that turns the Delhi NCR region into a gas chamber year in and year out, that could be improved for once and for all?
बोल रहे हैं 900 से ऊपर चला गया। मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि ये पराली का जो प्रॉब्लम है, ये हर साल का प्रॉब्लम है, स्पेसिफिक इसी टाइम पे क्यों होता है। ब्लेम गेम चल रहा है कि दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट बोलती है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट बोलती है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट। बोल रहे हैं 900 से ऊपर चला गया। मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि ये पराली का जो प्रॉब्लम है, ये हर साल का प्रॉब्लम है, स्पेसिफिक इसी टाइम पे क्यों होता है। और यहाँ पे इतनी हालत ख़राब है। मैं जोधपुर में था 15 दिन, वहाँ जोधपुर में तो आसमान में आप तारे गिन लो, उत्तराखंड में चले जाओ वहाँ तारे गिन लो। तो गवर्नमेंट को कुछ करना चाहिए। ब्लेम गेम चल रहा है कि दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट बोलती है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट बोलती है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट। और 500 किलोमीटर की रेंज भी नहीं है। हरियाणा और पंजाब तो कोई एक ही, अगर देखा जाए जोग्राफिकली कोई बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस नहीं है। तो कुछ ना कुछ होना चाहिए। खाली मुझे नहीं लगता कि खाली पराली का ही कारण है, और भी बहुत सारे कारण हैं। तो कुछ ना कुछ होना चाहिए, क्योंकि दिल्ली में रहना मतलब ये है, अगर आप दिल्ली में रह रहे हो तो अपनी लाइफ जो है आप 5-7 साल डेफिनेटली कम कर रहे हो कंपेयर टू अदर प्लेस जहाँ पे ये सब स्थिति नहीं है। तो स्थिति बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। कुछ ना कुछ ज़रूर होना चाहिए, मुझे लगता है।
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Experts opine that Bharat's gross domestic product may expand by nearly 7% in the second quarter of the financial year of 2024, exceeding the RBI's October 6th estimate of 6.5%. The CII Business Confidence Index has continued its upward trajectory as it rose to a three-quarter high of 67.1, and according to the survey, about